joining this meeting. And in this webinar, my name is Briti Kujur and I am the Technology Research Associate in FireShark. I am very much fortunate to host this session as I am your host. And so as we know that we are connecting with each other and connected through the help of computers, servers, and mobile phones. We are connected to each other with the help of hardwares, and we are linked together in order to share details, resources, and communicate with each other. So how we interconnected, like the question is very much clear that how we are connected through each other. So we are connected through the help of network. But a network also faces some challenges like network traffic, complexity, network inflexibility, etc. So to address several challenges that traditional networking architecture is facing, such as inflexibility, complexity, and then high cost. So to reduce these challenges, SDN was developed. So the full form of SDN is like software defined networking. So SDN has captured people's attention and is day by day increasingly and redefining the way networks are built and managed for today's world. So in this session, we will explore the basics of SDN, its benefits, and its potential drawbacks. So to deliver a detailed view about SDN and its impact over the networking, we have with us our special guest, Sir Jonathan Akobundu from Cyprus International University, Turkey. So welcome, sir. It is a pleasure to have you here in this today's session. So before we jump over our discussion, sir, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Jonathan Akobundu. I'm a Nigerian. For my first degree, I studied electrical electronics engineering. I'm actually currently trying to get my master's in information technology. But before then, I studied. I went to training for Cisco CCIE security, where I learned about router switches, how to use ASA firewall, how to use firepower, ICE, and all that. So I'm honored and I'm grateful to be here with you guys. First of all, before we go into today's the theme of this webinar, first of all, we have to know what software-defined networking is. The software-defined networking technology is an approach to network management that enables dynamic, programmatical, efficient network configuration in order to improve network performance and monitoring, making it more like cloud computing than traditional network management. There are different layers. The SDN is divided into three. There's the application layer, there's the control layer, and there's the infrastructure layer. So the application layer now just contains the typical network applications or function organizations use. This can also include intrusion detection systems like the eyes. I say intrusion detection systems. I mean, that's those systems that how will I put it? That detect where there's an attack or something that can detect viruses or detect attack from outside a network before it happens. They also have load balancing and firewalls. We all know what firewalls are, you understand? Then the control layer just represents the centralized SDN controller software that acts as the brain of the software defined, that acts as the software. That's the SDN. Then this controller resides in the server and manages policies and traffic flows throughout the network. Then when you now talk about the infrastructure layer, it's just as it is, just when you're talking about what are those things that make up the network, which are like your routers, your switches, just your physical devices and all that. So, thank you.
So, sir, as we know that SDN is basically separating networks operation and network traffic. So, what does it mean when people talk about like SDN is decoupling hardware from software? What exactly is this, sir?
The SDN architecture decouples control logic from forwarding hardware and enables consideration of middle boxes. It's just like what this SDN does, just like giving you simpler policy management. That is, it just makes it easier for you to manage your network. You understand? It gives you easier for you to make changes to your network and all that. It's just like making everything become centralized, and it also creates for new functionalities. The solid line defines data planes links and dashed lines and the control plane links.
Okay, sir. So, what are the benefits that we user can adopt through SDN, or what are the main benefits that SDN provide to its user?
There are various benefits. There are various benefits which we can get from SDN. You know, SDN. When you talk about SDN, the first thing that comes into your mind is automation. They are just trying to make everything easier. You understand? You know, let me just like digress a little bit. You know, before we had cloud, before cloud computing became very famous and all that, everybody knows that every company had physical devices. You understand? You come to a company, you have your routers, your switches, you have your computer, you have your servers and all that. But nowadays, you can come to a company, they might just have a server room, just like few routers and few switches, you know, just to do the basic, maybe just load balancing and all that, and maybe just one or two, maybe firewalls to protect your internet and all that. But nowadays, you find out that companies now, to save costs, what they just do is that they just like give it to people like Google. Google has their own, Microsoft has their own, Microsoft Azure, or you use AWS, you know. So all these things now are they have given room for, you know, as technologies come out, it makes life easier. And I know that it's going to be also hard for people to adapt, but you know, it's a great way, it's a way forward, and it's also cost effective. So back to SDN, what are the benefits that users get for SDN? I said automation is a great option for large, complex networks that require a lot of time, for you to, you know, you can, with SDN now, you can actually see what is actually wrong. You can actually see, okay, this firewall is down, or there's an attack on this, and there's this on that. You can also with SDN, okay, there's an attack on it. Let's use for security for instance. There's an attack, you know, from outside, maybe you know, from a particular firewall. You can just block a particular section. You can just block a particular section and try to figure out what the problem is, or why this is down, or why that is down. So SDN now makes it easier. It makes it easier for you to manage using automation and all that. You understand? It makes network management, you know, you see everything that's happening in real time. With SDN, you see all that is happening in real time. You can be able to monitor anything that is happening using any SDN in real time, and it's cost effective. That is just the truth. Just like what I said earlier, whereby companies no longer have physical devices, they now use cloud. You know, it's just the same thing. Just people like you using SDN, you're saving costs. You understand? Instead of you, maybe for instance, the company might say, okay, instead of me hiring 4 or 5 network engineers, you can just hire 2 using SDN, you know, to monitor the network, to monitor the system and all that. And it's fast. It's a very way to scale this network very fast and all that.
Okay, so sir, will SDN provide end-to-end IT infrastructure visibility? Like, will it be enabling a centralized view of network behavior, like its traffic flows across the network?
Yeah, SDN, with regards to end-to-end IT infrastructure and visibility and traffic flow and all that, it will do that. The results, you know, when it comes to visibility of network flows, enabling granular optimization of traffic paths and all that, yes, it would. The control of data flows of network and all that, yes. Because I feel that if it does not do that, then what is the essence of you using SDN at the end of the day? So SDN has, it has experienced significant adoptions across data centers, worldwide and all that. So yes, you can say that it provides end-to-end IT infrastructure visibility.
So, sir, when we talk about SDN, sir, we are seeing that it is taking too much time to adopt, or we can say it is taking too much time to users to adopt it. So, what are the main reasons that why it is taking so much time, sir?
Before, when you talk about SDN, the first thing that comes to my mind is I always like to compare it with cloud computing. It's very hard for you to tell a company that has been doing something for years to actually change the way they've been doing things. It's going to be difficult. We as human beings to changes. I know change is constant, but we as human beings, the way we react to change is different. You understand? And also, it's going to be hard for a company that they already have a way that things are working for them and working for them perfectly to tell me it has working for them for years and you tell them to change it. It's going to be very hard for them to adopt. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. Some companies, some corporations which like the idea, you understand, which like to be, when it comes to IT and which comes to tech, they like to be on top. I've already adopted it, you understand? Like before, there are not really companies. Okay, let's just use before jobs, IT jobs, for instance. Before the normal jobs, 9 to 5, everybody, you come to work, you sign in, you do your jobs and all that. But nowadays, you have remote jobs where you can sit down, let's just say comfortably in your living room, or you sit down in your room, open your laptop, and you're doing something for the company somewhere that is many, many miles away, you understand? So it's time for things like this to happen. I know changes are occurring, but it's going to take time, but I believe that with time, everything will fall in place.
Sir, so can we afford to live without SDN? SDN, like, is it possible to operate and manage networks without the help of SDN? Like, because
Yeah,
it is becoming
yes,
very much challenging, and insufficient networks are there, which is increasing complexity and scale. So, is it possible that we can just live without SDN?
yes, you can do without SDN, but also towards end. When I say towards end, I mean let's look at it this way. I feel some of the reasons why people will not want to adopt SDN. First of all, people will feel that, okay, for instance, let's talk a network engineer that has his that has his networking certificate, is good in data science, is good in networking, is good in I say networking, is good in security, routing and switching, data center and the rest, voice and all that. Then you come one day and tell him that he needs to add something. He needs to be able to write code, or he maybe do a little bit of, be able to understand how trying to bring in something new. You understand? I know it's going to be hard. Before SDN, the networking has been, we have been monitoring this thing. We have been monitoring let's say, just say, for instance, a corporation's network normally, whereby you check, you try to monitor maybe through a management, this thing that you have, you monitor this, you monitor that, you monitor this. You understand? But at the end of the day, if you look at it, how long can you do that? How far can you do that? The SDN it is here now to make things easier. It's here now to make things better for us, you understand? So that we don't have to suffer. When you talk about automation, is just like if something is running on its own. It's just like something, it has been programmed to do a particular thing. When something goes wrong, you know where the thing went wrong, and you understand how to solve that particular problem and how to tackle that particular issue, what to do to solve that issue. You understand? Unlike before, whereby something goes wrong, you start troubleshooting and troubleshooting. I feel with SDN, it makes troubleshooting more easier. It makes it, you know, better, because I feel without the SDN, man, troubleshooting is going to be a problem. I remember when I was learning Cisco, we set up a network and all that. The next thing, something goes wrong, maybe an interface is down, or maybe you're setting up a VPN, and one particular, maybe if you forgot, you know, the your key pairs are not matching, or you know, one issue or the other, you didn't spell something right. All those kind of issues might just be a little thing, but can give you headache. But with SDN, something being automated, man, and when this is just when I'm telling you, you're doing something in, okay, let's say for instance, the CCI lab, you're doing something in small scale. That's a big scale, you understand, based on, you understand, but you're not doing something for a corporation. You need something like SDN that can monitor everything and give you real time, which can update on how everything is moving. So for networking to move forward, I think you just have to update, they just have to move with the trend, and which is SDN. They just have to, you know, move along with it.
Okay, sir. So when we talk about SDN, the first thing which comes in our mind is network. When we talk about network, the thing is like routing comes in our mind. So how SDN is different from traditional routing protocols? Like we know that traditional routing protocols are the networks which uses devices to exchange information and is used to determine the best path to share your data packets. So how it is different, sir?
Traditional networking and SDN, the truth is that you can't use SDN without doing traditional, is what I feel. You can't do one without the other, because if you look at the layers of what are they calling SDN that I talked about earlier, you have the infrastructure layer. Infrastructure layers are where the routers and the switches are. So that place where the routers, your physical switches and your network are, those are the traditional way, you understand, whereby everything is connected by this thing. SDN is just like when I hear SDN, I just feel like just like the management, you just centralize, everything is in one place. You understand? Instead of you going here or going there, SDN is just one place. It's just like something that is covering a whole distance, just like protecting something. So when you talk about SDN, I just feel that SDN and traditional, because they are connected one way or the other, whether we like it or not. We can't say traditional networking and SDN. No, I think they are connected to each other, because it was SDN that is managing the traditional, and you understand, it's making the traditional look more easy. The SDN is just like the automated form of the traditional and all that. If you can understand what I mean.
Okay, sir. So in today's world, the most important thing is like how we can secure our data. So how does SDN impact our network security? Like when we introduce new security risk like SDN faces, so what problems that is occurred? Like what are the particularly if SDN controller is compromised or if the network is misconfigured, what are the risks or issues which SDN can face?
That is one of the sweetest part of SDN, though. That is one of the sweetest parts of SDN. SDN is such a way that when you say SDN is granular, means that you can actually, something goes on. I talked about that earlier. I don't know if you got me, if you could hear me. I talked about that earlier. SDN is so beautiful in such a way that if something goes wrong, or there's an intrusion to your network, or there's a part of your network that is, you know, that is giving you issues, or you can just like shut that particular section off. You understand? Those how will you put it? Just like you can just sandbox that place. Let's just use the word sandbox. It might not be the right term though, but you can just like protect that particular space and figure out what actually is wrong there. You understand? Then you can now look for what the problem is and solve it. Then, you know, so SDN is beautiful in that way. I know that SDN like every other net, listen, SDN has limitations. SDN has its own limitations, like every other net, this thing. Like SDN's limitations are, it requires you with SDN, it requires you to change the entire network infrastructure, you understand, to implement an SDN protocol and SDN controller, you understand. It requires a complete reconfiguration, you know, of the network. That is one of the disadvantages, and that is why I feel that adoption of SDN by some companies or by some corporations are, you understand, that is one of the things that some corporations will not want. And it's also, you know, you bringing a new technology, introducing something new, is also going to cost money. You understand? So on the long run, they will gain it, but you know, you trying to introduce something new is going to be it's going to cost the company more when you're trying to reconfigure the network. And also, you know that let's say the network engineers or the IT tech that you have on hand, you have to retrain them on how to use SDN, you understand? So this is one of the disadvantages. I know that we have been talking about the advantages, there are also disadvantages, and these are one of them. These are some of them, you understand?
So, sir, when a normal user, when implementing SDN, what are the challenges he or she can face? Sir, can you give some examples and how we can overcome them?
How do you mean? Can you come?
Sir, when implementing SDN in our network, what are the challenges a user can face?
The challenges a user can face when implementing SDN.
Like in network wise, we can say, like if some SDN devices, when user are implementing in their network, what are the challenges or what are the problems or issues they can face, like in complexity way, or yeah.
Those are, when you talk about the issues that may arise when a user is trying to implement SDN, right? Is it you asked?
Yes, sir.
First of all, there are few of them. First of all, maybe the network is complex. One, the user does not know, you know, the network architecture. He does not really know how the data flows with the network. It can actually be a problem for him to know how to set up the SDN, and also not having a good knowledge or not having a good grasp of how SDN works or how to implement SDN can also be one of the challenges that the user may face.
Okay. So, sir, for example, if I am using a wide area network, so can I use the SDN?
Yes, you can use SDN. SDN, when you hear SDN, SDN is just an application. You understand? It's just like an application, just like how will I put it now? You have to access it. You understand? It's just an application to use. So yes, when you're using one, you can use your SDN. It works. It won't work.
That for example, like when we talk about the oldest thing, like our router, switch, or even the disk drive, so when they fail, or when their components fail, or they get old and they break, so is that a cause for we have to bring SDN in our network?
I don't understand. What do you mean? Let me get
Like, sir, when we talk about the old thing, like switch, etc. So like if they get old and they break, so is it the cause why we implement SDN in our network?
Okay, like when you have like a physical those physical devices, when they fall, where they malfunction, right, where they are not longer working properly, right, is what you mean? If
Yes,
it's a
sir.
proper, if it's one of the reasons why SDN is being set up.
Yes, sir.
I think I would say in that instance, I would say yes. And I also feel with the SDN, you can use to monitor those devices, understand? Because it gives you real-time updates. Anything SDN is automation and gives you real-time updates. With SDN now, you saying you're using SDN in a network now means that you can see everything that is working, that is all the devices that make up that particular network. So any device that is going down or that is down, the SDN will tell you, okay, this router is down, or this, yes, it's one of the reasons why SDN is automation, meaning that everything works automatic. It's going to give you real-time updates. SDN is real-time updates. And you change an IP address, anything that happens on the network, or you are being attacked, or you have someone, everything that is happening within that network, SDN gives you. It's like SDN keeps like a log that gives you real-time updates of everything that's happening.
Sir, as in our world, there are different levels of organizations, like small, medium, and large. So, is the SDN used in these organizations are same, or they differ according to the scale wise?
I don't understand you. What do you mean?
Sir, we have different types of organization. According to the scale wise, they are different. Like some are small and some are large, and somewhere there some are complex and some are not such complex. So, is there SDN used are different in every organization, or they are same?
I think SDN is going to be the same thing. You understand? It does not matter. The only thing that is just the difference there is just the size of the net. It is just how large the network is or how complex the networking is. The SDN is going to work the same way it's going to work. It's going to give, you understand, the same real-time updates. It's still going to do what it's meant to do. You understand? It does not matter whether the corporation or the network is a small, a medium, or a large. You understand? No matter how big it is, no matter how small it is, SDN is going to do what SDN is going to do, you understand? So it does not matter the type of corporation it is, SDN is just going to do what it's meant to do.
Sir, can you tell us some tools and technologies which are used in SDN?
Tools in what aspect?
Sir, in securing the network.
To secure a network in SDN?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you have your firewalls. You have your firewalls now. You understand? I just feel when you talk about when you mean tools, do you mean the physical devices, or you mean like a medium to secure those devices?
There are medium to secure these devices, sir.
Yes. They have what they call granular security. This is just like a primary advantage of SDN networking, just like greater visibility throughout the network. You understand? Unlike in traditional security, whereby any security impacts traffic is over aching, with SDN is granular, which means that engineer can selectively block malicious, as you can just like selectively block malicious traffic. This granular security is just like what I've been saying earlier, just like when something is wrong in a particular place, in a particular block of the security, can block that particular place and try to figure out what the problem is. So this is one of the, one of the advantages of, of SDN and all that. You understand? That's just it. That's one of the sweetest part of SDN, is that you can actually select them as blocks, and if there's a problem here, you block that particular place, you solve the problem, open it back and all that. So granular security is one of the best, is one of the ways that SDN works and all that.
Sir,
in SDN also, there are also, we have there are firewall solutions in SDN, that use or like open flow protocols and all that, TCP, flag matching capabilities and all that, and the rest of them. So there are so many things. You have your firewall, you have granular security. So there are so many ways whereby the SDN is secure, you understand? So with SDN now, when there's like a threat to the network, unlike traditional, whereby the threat spreads. In SDN, the threat, when a threat attacks a particular, maybe just a firewall or a particular device, you can actually just lock down that. You can just like sandboxing, just sandbox that particular, block that particular area and try to figure out how to solve that particular problem and all that.
Okay, sir. So can we manage multiple data centers, or we can say organizations with a single SDN device, by using it as a centralized controller?
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Like, sir, can we manage multiple data centers and organizations with a single SDN?
Can we manage multiple data centers?
Like organizations, sir. For example, if we take different organizations, so is there any way to use a single SDN in those multiple organizations?
Okay, like you're asking using a singular SDN for multiple organizations, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can, because SDN, I think it allows data to move easily through distributed network. It supports. Yes, I think you can. It's possible. With me now, I'm not. I won't say I've really, like dived into if I believe you can, because you can. If you can send the data from different networks, there's different networks. I feel you can also manage using an SDN to manage there's different networks, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can use an SDN to manage different networks. You can. I think it will have, yes, I think you can.
Sir, do you have any bad experience about SDN? Or if you have any good experience, can you share, sir?
So far I don't have any bad experiences using SDN for now. I would say sometimes it might be frustrating when you can't talk about adapting to new technology and all that, but for now, using SDN, it has not cost me. I haven't had any bad experience at all using SDN and all that.
Okay, so sir, like nowadays, we are moreover like connected and engaged into network. So what are the career option in SDN? Like what are the roles which will be best suit to SDN?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, my
Okay.
question, yeah.
Um. I think they are like, normally as a network administrator, you can network administrator, yes, SDN, storage administrator, SDN, test engineer, just like you're testing the network and all that. You can get that SDN. Software engineer, someone has to manage the software which manages the network. So as a software engineer that knows what it's doing and knows about networking, yes, you can. SDN engineer, I think someone who can build the, set up the infrastructure from scratch and all that, design the architecture and all that. So yes, you can. So those are like the 5 rules: administrator, test engineer, SDN engineer, software engineer, and Q&A, quality and control, all that, or test engineer and all that. So yes, those are the like 5 rules which you can actually apply for with your knowledge on SDN. Those are like the 5 rules which you can actually apply for with your knowledge of SDN.
Okay, so sir, how can we motivate our today's youngsters to use SDN? Because nowadays security is the most important aspect in today's world, and we know that in the today's time, youngsters are the persons, or we can say the users, which are mostly being attacked by the user. So how they can use SDN to protect their information, or we can say resources?
Uh, is I think it's just easy for someone that is learning, that maybe that started from, that is trying to understand the basics of networking. You understand? No, it's just easy, just like someone that's starting networking, that loves networking. As maybe it's just starting, maybe let's just say you are starting from the basics of networking. You understand? From there, you just have to tell the person about SDN, because at that particular point, you tell the person about SDN, you are helping the person, and now you're adding him to the population, or the population of people that actually know how to use SDN. So telling someone from scratch, someone that tells, okay, I have an interest in network, I have an interest in computer networking, you have to tell them about SDN. You telling them about SDN, first of all, you have given the person, like, maybe if the person has like a 15 to 20% chance of getting a job or clinching a job, you understand? Let's say a little bit, the salary is okay. With SDN, the person adding that he has the knowledge of SDN and know how SDN works, or how to set up an SDN and all that, control SDN or manage SDN. You have like, first of all, you have given the person more chance of securing a job. First of all, the person already knows about the technology, means the person is already in the future. The person already, you understand, wants to adopt, is ready to, chase down the career path which the person has a passion for. So that's just it.
Sir, what are the platforms which SDN uses to provide a policy-based approach to network management, sir? What is the best platform in network management? Like where we can study about it?
Um, where you can study about SDN, the person can actually do research. I think FireShark also takes that, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so the person can also, enroll to FireShark. They have, I feel they have professionals over there we can actually, talk about SDN, and we can also train them, teach them, so that they can have the knowledge, because SDN is the way forward. We have a question. We have a question on the chat. Let's see what the person is talking about.
Yes, sir. Ayush Shende is having a question like, what is the SDN, sir?
Okay. Since she was not here when okay, that's not a problem. SDN, like, I think, like what he just said, yeah, SDN is just like a technology, is an approach to network management that enables dynamic, programmatic, efficient network configurations, in order to improve network performance, monitoring. SDN is just like a platform that makes everything centralized and that makes you be able to manage your network and all that. When you hear about SDN, you hear about automation. You're making everything, you're making your network automated. That means you can actually find out what is actually wrong with your network. You can actually try to configure, manage, monitor your network and all that. The SDN to also have like it has three layers. It has the application layer, it has the control layer that we talked about earlier, and has the infrastructure layer. When you hear infrastructure layer, it just talks about the physical switches and your devices and all that. The control layer just talk about the centralized SDN controller software. There's the brain of the SDN network and all that. Then the application layer just contains the network applications or function organizations use and all that, includes the intrusion detection systems and the rest of them.
So, sir, what is your opinion on security issues in SDN?
Security issues, like what kind of security issues?
Like, sir, we are having too much potential vulnerabilities which are occurring day by day. So, is there any possible that SDN can
Is there any possibility that SDN can affect it, or what?
affected by the vulnerability, sir?
For every technology, for something, um, for for every advantage, there shall be a disadvantage. For a new technology, there must always, I feel like there will always be loopholes and always be vulnerabilities. Nothing is perfect. At the end of the day, the SDN were created by we humans, you understand? So they are bound to be, one or two prevention, but day by day, as people use it, people get used to it and all that. All those things that people feel is secure as it is secure, you understand? But as we continue using it, as we continue, um, how will I put it? As we continue trying to explore how SDN can help network and help network security, you understand? Those concerns or those vulnerabilities are going to be solved, you understand? Because if you don't use something, if you don't drive, if you let's say for instance you buy a car and you don't drive it, how you know the issues, or how you know what you don't like, how you know how to fix those problems? So if you don't use it and if you don't use it, if you don't embrace it, you understand, how all those things are still going to be there. But for something that's going to be used on a daily basis, there's no how. Like the cloud and everything, there are vulnerabilities everywhere, but there are also solutions also. That's why there are also patches. When a company brings us a software, they give you a patch. When a company brings out a software, they give you a patch. Those patches are just to cover up. Even them too, they have pen testers and all that are checking, just like a bank app. A bank gives an app. The bank also, they're running tests on the app to find all those vulnerabilities in their own system, trying to solve the problems and all that. So there are always going to be vulnerabilities, but it's also going to be solved on all that, because there are so many people using it. There's a lot riding on it and all that.
Sir, like, what is the impact of SDN over people? Like, how it is improving users' experience, sir?
SDN SDN over people. Uh, with SDN, I think SDN will reduce reduces the rate of human error. We as humans, we make mistakes. You understand? SDN is automation, is automatic. Understand? So with SDN, it's going to reduce that gap, or reduce that gap for error. You understand, and all that. So with we using SDN, we are trying to minimize room for error. You understand? And also SDN to humans, it also makes it easier to monitor a very large and complex scale. When something becomes complex, it starts giving you a headache. You start wondering what is wrong, what is wrong. So with SDN, you don't need all that. You can be able to figure out what the problem is and try to solve what the problem is and all that.
Okay, sir. So I have finished all of my questions, which I was having doubt. So if any participants have their doubt, they are free to ask in the chat section. So, sir, can you tell us about how did you started your career in this field?
Um, it was funny though. I think I remember I just finished my first degree. I have a degree in electrical electronics engineering. So I just finished, and I was thinking of something to do. You understand? And as an electrical electronics engineer, we're already talking about somehow relating to computer, and all that. You understand? A little bit of it, because we're talking about zeros and ones and all that and all that. So I wanted to do something relating to this thing. Then a friend of mine, it was actually a friend of mine that told me, okay, I can actually do this. I can try getting a Cisco certification and all this and all that. And I said, okay, no problem. So that's how I got into Cisco, and I found out, okay, IT is the way forward. You understand? You don't need going back to engineering. I can do IT and this is me right here.
Okay, so I think there is no doubt. Thank you for giving us your valuable time, sir, and sharing your such an informative knowledge and trying to help us to understand SDN and its importance. So
Okay.
I heartily thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. There is one more question. Like in SDN, we use API to share traffic from controller to devices. So can you please tell about API, sir?
API, when you hear about API is just it's just an application. It's just the full meaning of API is just application programming interface. It's software that allows two applications to talk to each other. You understand? API is just like an application that allows two software to talk to each other. You understand? So when you're talking about API now, you talk about, you remember the layers I talked about, the layers of SDN, whereby application layer, control layer, and infrastructure layer. So all these layers, they need to talk to each other. You understand? They need to communicate with each other. So that's where the API comes in. This layer, you understand, sends message to this layer and this layer. So all these things are done using API, you understand, application programmable interface and all that. So programming interface. So that's it. Hope the person understands what I mean. If you have any other question, let me know. Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, so thank you, sir, for giving your valuable time. So now I think like we have to end this session. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, everyone have a beautiful weekend. Okay, now. Bye.